All right, welcome in. No, it's all good. I'll fix it. So yeah, redeems don't work on the title screen. I was about to mention that. Redeems only work on the main screen, but I can. I think I can re-trigger it. Give me a second. I hate using the chat function in OBS. Okay, no, not that. Can I? No, that refreshes the thing. Give me a second. There is a way to re-trigger. Okay. Give me uno momento. You've earned those channel points. You will get to use them. Where are we? Where are we? Rewards. There is a way to do this. Where are we? I should have logged in Triggerfly before. Anyway, while I'm sorting that out, in the meantime, this is what we're doing tonight. This is the Mulga. It is a very small little caterpillary Zoid from the model franchise Zoids, which is actually one of my favorite model franchises when it comes to things like Gunpla and stuff like that. So we're going to be building this one, the AA one, in Sexy Desert Tan. If we get enough time, I might give a crack at the carrier. I don't know how long it's going to take because these guys are pretty small. That's why I picked them. So we'll see what we do. Hang on a second. Okay, connected to OBS. Very good. Anyway, yes. So that's the plan. We're building. I'll stop fiddling around with reward triggers. I swear there's a way to re-trigger them. I just cannot remember what it is. Actually, I can just do this because I have infinite points. You will get your redeem. Where is it? There you go. Here's the redeem. Oh, I can't get it because it still has a timer on it. All right, well, you will get the redeem in 1 minute 40. So, where are we starting with? I think I've gotten most of my sprues. All right, I've never heard of that person, so clearly it is not he. But if you say that we're similar, we're similar. So let's start out with what we need. So I need component I, which is in this little baggie. It's the transparent. I might actually just adjust my camera a little bit. So up our little baggie. I debagged all of the runners except for these ones. So we'll need to clip out this. So if you've never built a model before, one of the most useful things I've ever learned is what's called the double nip technique, which is you cut it off the sprue like that, and then now that you've got it free and you can maneuver it around, you can come in much closer, and if I can get the camera to focus, that way you can cut it flush and get a much better cut with much less damage to the side of the part. So that's been our learning for tonight. Now these, I think, are interesting. Okay, so on this side of the part, they've actually undergated it, which means I'll need to trim it down the bottom as well. Yeah, and that's a little bit scuffed on the bottom, but it's fine because we won't see it. So that's canopy done. Now I need D4 and D1. That's G. I don't need G right now. D is the black sprue. Yes, I kind of wish I had a better way of organizing this stuff, but unfortunately I don't. So I need 4 and 1. Where is number 4? Okay, 1 is this guy, the big one. The only downside with doing the double nip is that you wind up with little pieces of runner everywhere. Okay. So we've got that out. Let's give it a little bit of a file just to clean it up. Oh, that's right. It's awfully quiet. I got caught up in all the other stuff I was doing with redeems and things. I forgot I was going to turn on music. Now I can cease being boring and be boring with music. Also, I think our redeems are back up. So, Akira, you asked for a flashbang. Here you go. Here's your flashbang. Now we can all be blind together. Okay. So I need D4 to go in there, by the looks of it. D4, 4, 4, 4. There's 4. Well, that's the point. So the actual idea for that redeem, I got it from watching a bunch of clips on YouTube, where people kept making clips of the VTuber Fillion, and doing jokes about Fillion, like Fillion flashbangs to stream, you know, flashbang, 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 which is usually code word for a panty shot. It's usually that, you know, you can see up the skirt of the model. I don't really have a skirt, and I thought, wouldn't it be funnier if I had a flashbang redeem that is literally just a flashbang that just blinds everyone? That, and also other people joke about flashbangs in regards to, like, dark mode and stuff like that. So the idea was, yeah, you can redeem it to blind anyone who's watching in the dark. And I made it. I animated it, drew it and animated it in Clip Studio Paint, and did the video editing for it in TrackAxe. I actually had to make it twice, because originally it had a green background, but because it uses a chroma key, you may have noticed I'm actually quite green. My model is quite green. And unfortunately it made my shell turn transparent. So I had to change the background from green to magenta. So it uses a magenta chroma key now. And that way it just takes up the entire screen. Okay, that should be nice and clean. How does this go together? This... Oh, this is a control panel. That's what it is. Okay. Hopefully I can... This goes at the front of the cockpit. I can get my fingers to get it to go right. It is extremely hot here at the moment. Yeah, it's not immediately obvious. When I get it rigged, hopefully the shell will be a little bit more obvious. But yeah, it is extremely hot here at the moment. Okay. Go in. That might need a little bit of cleaning. Okay, brush, brushy, brushy. Okay, that's step 1 done. We have our cockpit done, roof done. I'm going to skip step 2 because I don't care about the pilot. D6. Ugh. Let me just scooch this a little bit closer because my old and decrepit eyes cannot see it. Alright, so I need D6, D18. So, interesting fact, the part we're building now is the cockpit, but it's the common cockpit that all Gylos type Zoids use. So, this thing, the Iguan, the Hellcat, what else uses it? There's the little Dimetrodon one that I can't remember the name of. So yeah, this is a very early generation design from back in the 80s, but it's an updated kit of it. Okay. 18. Cool. 18. Get that on camera, that'd be nice. Also, don't drop super glue on the floor, Endo. So that will get messy. What else do I need? 18 and 6. That's a 9. There's a 6. Yes, there's a reason why I picked a smaller kit, because I am notoriously slow at building things. And hopefully I can actually... Let's move some of this crap out of the way and get more of the build actually on camera. Yeah, it's definitely a learning experience. I remember being much younger, trying to build one of these using scissors, and that was a hellish experience. And I will say a good set of cutters definitely helps. So these are God hands. They're about $60 a pair. They're expensive, but they make life phenomenally easier. But yeah, no, I love building models. It's one of my happy place hobbies. It's nice and relaxing. And the good thing about gunpla is they don't need glue. Okay, so this is number 6. Where does 6 go? Ah, okay, 6 locks the canopy in place. Okay. So this will go on last. Okay. There we go. I mean, it is one of those things where I can understand the patience factor. Where is it? Let me tell you a story. Hang on a second. I'll grab him down off my shelf. He's actually right above me. So if you give me 1 second. This guy, Ground Gundam, actually one of the first Gundam kits I ever built. And if you come up here and look at the gun barrel, which I'll actually zoom in on a little bit. So, yeah, if you look at that gun barrel up there, you can see kind of that white stuff around the tip. That's what she said. That's glue. And normally you don't need to glue a Gundam kit, because this thing, which is a little bit dusty, is designed to come apart. Yep, Optimus Prime. The gun barrel's designed to come apart because it's designed to pack away. I was impatient when I was building it, and I accidentally clipped the part that's supposed to join this on off, so I had to glue it because I was impatient and I wasn't paying attention. So put him back up on my shelf. But yeah, we definitely have our own stories of impatience. So I built that one when I was probably 15, probably. Is it really that long ago? Yeah, because I bought that one. I bought that one on my first trip to Japan, so that would have been about 15. Oh, yeah, 15. Yeah, no, that's exactly why glue exists. Glue exists solely for the purpose of fixing broken Gunpla kits. Glue has no other purpose other than to fix Gunpla kits that I break. But no, I have a couple of other ones that I've managed to break over the years through impatience or carelessness. I have a bunch that I actually probably need to fix. Okay. So I'm based in Australia. That's where I live. But yeah, no, I've traveled to Japan a grand total of 3 times in my life. Yeah, no, I was in Australia when I was 15. But I went to Japan on a trip because I studied Japanese when I was in high school. So I was lucky enough to be able to go there. I traveled to Japan. I was in Japan for about, when I was 15 at least, I was there for about 2.5 weeks. Which way around does this go? This goes on like this, does it? I think. Aha, goes in behind there. Yeah, it can be good. So there we go. There's our cockpit done. I'll actually probably zoom out because we don't need to be this close anymore. Yeah, no, it's good. It can be good, but yeah, it wasn't just travel. I guess you could say it was learning as well. I did have to go to school for part of it, so I spent a couple of days at school in Japan, which was an interesting experience. And to put it briefly, I am glad that I do not, or rather, I'm glad that I did not have to study for any length of time in a Japanese school. I don't think I have the motivation to study like a Japanese student does. Okay, G9, 10, 6, and 7. Okay, that's... Okay, 6 is the core part. That's the one I need. But no, it's yeah, it's good to travel. It broadens the mind, helps you realize your inadequacies. Experience different things. Yeah, yes and no. I wouldn't say I had a lot to do when I was at a Japanese school. But I think it's more that a lot more is a lot more is expected of you. Because I remember the first time I was in class, I noticed a lot of people were just sleeping, and I asked the guy I was staying with about this. I was like, "Why's everyone sleeping? Like, won't they get in trouble?" And he was like, "No, like, because people just sleep." And the teacher's like, "Cool, you can just sleep if you want to, and if you don't get the work done, then that's like your fault and you'll get in trouble." Like, you know. So yeah, there's a lot. I think a lot more emphasis put on the student's own self discipline, and I don't know if I actually have the capability to do that. Ah, I see. I see. Yeah, I was school 5 days a week, more or less. Well, let's be honest. Sleep is helpful productivity, and it is good. They do have some weird things with work culture though, because I've worked with people from Japan, and it's always a weird experience. Um, some of the different outlooks on things, because usually like our outlook on work here is like 9 to 5, right? You come in at 9, you finish at 5, and sometimes you have, yeah, sure, you got to work a longer day, but even then it's usually you want to get the work done and go home. Whereas the Japanese guys I worked with, they were way more content to just be like, oh cool, like we're not ready to start testing yet, cool, we'll just have a nap and like be here till 5 in the morning when we're ready. And I'm like, no, just go home. Like everyone else would be like, okay, cool, we're not ready to start up till 5 in the morning, and it's what, 8 o'clock at night, cool, we're gonna go home and we'll be back at 5 in the morning. Whereas the Japanese guys were like, oh, we don't mind, we'll just stay here and have a nap in the office. And we literally had to be like, no, go home. Like, go to your hotel and sleep. Do not stay in the office. Okay. I need 7, 7, 7, 7. Okay. Speaking of the office, my office nemesis has returned. I have a nemesis in my current office. A foe who continues to outwit and elude me. I call this foe Piss Lizard, because my current office is in the basement. It's in the basement of our building, and we get oh yeah, like what depends. Our office is on an industrial site, so like we have fences and barbed wire and all sorts of shit in terms of security. So, um, I don't know what the gender of my office nemesis is, because my office nemesis is a lizard. It's literally a lizard. Because as I was saying, we have our office is in the basement, and so we get lizards that come inside, and there's this one particular one that keeps eluding me. And I only ever see it, like I'm trying to catch it, but it always eludes me, and hides out in the men's bathroom. That's why I call it Piss Lizard. I caught the small one, which I called Son of Piss Lizard, and I evicted it, threw it outside, but the big one I have yet to catch. And it shows up just when I'm least expecting it. Hence I cannot catch it. But no, it's an eastern water skink. It's about 15 centimeters long. So what? 6 inches? I don't know. I'll give it a crack. I do actually know how to check. That's the perks of having a biology degree. But yes, it continues to elude me, and this infuriates me, because I've come quite close to catching it a couple of times. It just had little holes that it goes and it hides in. It's still better than the last office I was in, where the office nemesis, not of me, but of someone else, was a rat. It chewed through her desk drawer, to get into the food that was in it. It's the downside of working in an old ass building. Well, yeah, no, I have a rather interesting repertoire. So, I have a degree in biology. I have a degree in history, and I work in engineering. So, they say variety is the flavor of life. I just say that I can't fucking pick one. Yeah, no, that's definitely true. My main annoyance with the lizard is the fact that it keeps escaping me. Its continued evasion mocks me. Alright, how does this go together? Also, it is incredibly hot here, and my hands are sweating. And so, very hard to hold things. Okay. 10 and 9. So we now have the back piece on. Actually, let's put... How did those things connect? Pure chance is the answer. So, when I went to study at university, I was like, what are things I studied at high school? I studied biology, and I just studied history. I also just studied Japanese and art. Didn't want to do art at university. Didn't look like there was a career in it. And I looked at biology, and they were like, yeah, you've got the marks to do that if you want to. And I looked at history, and they said, yeah, you've got the marks to do that if you wanted to. And then I looked at the desk, the orientation day, where they were doing biology, and I looked at the desk where they were doing history. And the desk that had history had more girls in the line. So I was like, you know what? Can I do both? And they were like, sure, you've got the marks to do both. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do both because I'm going to go crazy doing just biology. So instead, I'll do biology and history. And so I did both. And then I proceeded to use neither of them and tripped and fell and wound up in engineering. That's basically the outcome of how it happened. Which, really, I mean, I think that's a good outcome in the sense that, like, a degree is a very useful thing, but at the same time, the main thing you learn at university is, again, how to learn, how to teach yourself things independently, which has been incredibly useful in the job I am in now. So it doesn't really matter what I learned, it's about what I learn now. Which is somewhat strange, because there are days where I wake up and I go to work and I look, how the hell do these parts fit together? I look at what I have to do and go, I don't recall learning how to do this. How do I know what I'm doing? The answer is I just do. Okay, is this going to fit together? Or am I going to need to shave this down? That seems to fit okay. Do I love the work? Good question. The answer is not really. So, I currently have a conundrum. I thought this might happen. Yeah, do I love the work? Not really. It's work, I get paid. There are certain interesting aspects to it. The day in, day out is relatively boring. When you see something up and running, when we get like a system up and working, it's kind of cool. But all of the, I guess you could say, the responsibility for it kind of adds a certain level of burden. Right, now here is an annoying thing with these kits, because these kits are produced by Kotobukiya, and they're a little bit boutique. So these pegs are a little bit too thick for the holes they have to go through. Oh, thank you, helicopter. Thank you for flying past right now. So I'm going to have to shave down these pegs a little bit, just so they fit right. But yes, so when it comes to engineering, my engineering work is computer engineering. So I don't actually build things so much as I build things in a computer. It's all digital, but it makes the things that are actually machines go. So that's always fun. Okay, let's see if that has sufficiently shaved down for this to fit. Yeah, that's fair. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes yeah, sometimes like you've just got to do it. I guess you could say you've just got to live your life and progress to find out whether you like it or not. Because I know plenty of people who started out doing nursing and decided, you know what, nursing's not for them, and they'd go and do something else. But at the same time, I also know other people. So a very good friend of my family, for how long was she? She was probably maybe 15, 20 years. Was a chemical engineer. So she worked in a lab, doing metal chemistry, and then she quit doing that, and she went and she became a nurse. So she is now a registered nurse. That's her full-time job. Because she wanted to change, and also her family circumstances meant that it was a better choice for her. But yeah, I know plenty of people who've changed careers or decided to reapply skills they have in a different way. Okay, so that's our cockpit done. It's only taken me 40 minutes. Okay. D 12 and 12, 15 and E11. It's G. Okay. I really should try and do more of this on camera, but unfortunately my camera setup is not ideal for it. Trying not to stab myself with my own clippers. Okay, what's the other line? E. I think it's under here. Yes, it's good to have dreams, and I'm not going to lie to you. Once upon a time, I had similar aspirations. Not in Japan, but yeah, I thought animation or something like that was going to be the place for me. But then I looked into, I don't know, the options of performing at the time, I guess you could say, and didn't really like the look of it. But here's the other thing as well, is that you can always change further down the road. There are quite a few people who didn't start in the animation industry until they were much older. Which is funny because there are a lot of industries, particularly the games industry, where people seem really insistent that you have to start young. But 9 times out of 10, I find that this attitude is bullshit. That you can always start something when you're older. Great example, Alan Rickman, so the actor who played, amongst other things, Severus Snape in the Harry Potter movies, as well as, what's his face, Hans Gruber in Die Hard. He didn't start acting till he was like in his 40s. And then he was quite a well-regarded big-name actor for like 30 years until he died. So there's always a chance to change things up. And that's the great thing about VTubing. It's why I love it. Because there are so many people who are, I guess you could say, trying, well, I don't want to say trying again, but they're trying something else, even if they are a bit older. Which is great. Because a lot of folks getting to try something that they maybe wouldn't have thought they could try. Really wish my eyesight was better. Okay. It's that done. Because that way I can actually snip things whilst in camera. Okay. Actually, before I cut that, yes, okay, that does need to come off. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a great motivational speaker. Simply because of the fact that I'm probably the least motivated person on the planet. Well, I can't cut, well, I need to cut off the bits I need to cut off, but I need to double check to make sure it all fits together right. That's going to need to be filed down, which means I'm going to need to bring it up close to my face so I can actually see it. Okay. This is going to be ugly. This is going to be ugly. Unfortunately, I've not cut these that well. Thankfully, they'll probably be hidden behind some armor. They've got to move, so I've got to trim them down. This is actually going a lot slower than I expected. Thanks. Thanks, Mia. It's nice to have some hype scored in the chat. Okay, that should be, oh, need to fix that a little bit. I can live with that. All right. So that's our after. This is our before. So I'm gonna clip all these off. That is one of the things I have developed as I've gotten older, is I'm a little bit more obsessive with making my stuff look nice. A lot of my older kits are just covered in nub marks because I was just like, don't care, get it built. Go fast. Yeah, it's very kind of you. Okay, let's get that one. Okay. Think, yep, that is a much better job of cutting. Well done, Ando. Award for most improved. has learned to use scissors, can pass first grade. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. Okay. Now, how do these go together? So these go on the sides by the looks of things. No, I do not have a ring. Although, even if I was married, I don't like wedding rings. I don't like wedding rings for safety reasons. I know this is going to sound weird. No, I think in this case glue is the emergency solution. But no, this is going to sound weird. I don't like wedding rings for safety reasons, because wedding rings, particularly in the scenario where I work, are actually kind of dangerous. Because how gross do we want to get? Wedding rings like to get caught on things, and when you work with machinery, that can be quite a dangerous combination. To the point where one of the classic stories we get told at work induction is never wear a wedding ring. Never wear a wedding ring if you're climbing a ladder. Because what'll happen is if you fall and you reach out and try and grab that ladder, your ring will catch on the ladder and it will actually break your finger. Or in this guy's case, it actually ripped his finger off. So when it comes to wedding rings, yeah, not a fan. Okay, that's done. The next part is all E's. E. So I need E. 13, 12, 17, no. 13, 12, 7, and 4. Okay, 4 is this guy. Yeah. So, yeah, wedding rings, not great. I have a bunch of safety stories from work. I might tell some of them sometimes. Some of them are scary, some of them are just funny. Well, it depends. I find them funny. Because you kind of... It's like my boss described it once as the Cobra problem. Well, not the Cobra problem, but the Cobra theory is what he called it. Because he showed us this video. This is a safety meeting, and he showed us this video of a guy feeding cobras, right? And he's got these cobras in these boxes, and they're popping out and like trying to attack him while he's feeding them rats. And the guy is like completely not fussed. He's just handing them these rats and just like, whatever, I don't care. And so my boss showed us that video, and he was like, "Now, who here would want to feed those cobras?" Now me, I like snakes, so I was like, hell yeah, I'd feed the cobras. But basically no one else in the room would. Everyone else in the room was like, no, like, fuck that. I don't want to go anywhere near a cobra. And my boss kind of pointed out, he was like, well, yeah, that dude clearly wants to feed cobras, but also to us, it looks terrifying because we're afraid of snakes. But to that guy, he's been doing it forever. He's experienced and he knows how to keep himself safe. So, you know, what appears scary to us isn't scary to him. And it's the same thing with us, with the stuff we do at work, where it's like, you know, it seems scary to other people. And in some cases it is, but because we're experienced with it, it doesn't seem that scary. So when it's stuff where it's like, oh yeah, we had something blow up and dump like 40 tons of molten metal on the floor, other people find that terrifying, and I'm just like, yeah, it's just another day at work. To be fair, we haven't had a charge explosion in a while. So brief science lesson for those following along at home. A charge explosion is also known as a hot metal interaction or water metal interaction, which is when you get a pot of hot metal that you're currently melting and you get water in it. Oh, it is, yeah, it's a normal day at work. So this happens every so often. It's not common, but it happens every so often. But the thing is, when water gets really, really hot, it turns into steam. And steam expands something like 120 times its original volume. Yeah, the steam bomb. It expands really rapidly to 120 times its original size. The other problem is that when you superheat water, it creates what's known as water gas, which is not steam. Water gas it's a mixture of, it separates and it forms a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. Now, what do you need for fire? Oxygen. What do you need for fire? Fuel, hydrogen. So you essentially make a very large bomb. So what happens is sometimes when we're loading scrap into the furnace, you get water in the scrap. The water then goes into the furnace, and you get an explosion that shoots white hot molten metal out of the furnace everywhere. That's a charge explosion. They are incredibly dangerous if you're not following the rules. If you are following the rules, they are relatively safe. They're not, how do I put this? They are alarming. They are what we would call a dramatic moment. But so long as you're where you should be, you're not in any danger. They are very loud, though. They also make the dust fall off the roof. Everything gets filthy. Okay, that goes there. Well, to be fair, it's not a normal day. They don't happen frequently, but we take precautions so that when it goes off, no one gets hurt. But again, because of the stuff that we work with, the temperatures, the power levels, like the amount of energy, both electrical and stored potential energy within some of the stuff we work in, you just get used to the idea that when things go wrong, things break with dramatic force, and that being safe is about kind of excluding yourself from the area where you're at risk. So it is, when it does break, it's impressive, but no one gets hurt because no one's nearby. Yeah. And yeah, safety is number one, because like machines, if they break, like, how do I put this? Machines are designed to break. People are not. It's much easier to fix a machine than it is to fix a person. Much easier to replace a machine than it is to replace a person. All right, this is looking not too bad. Okay, now to figure out how these actually go together. Ah, okay, that goes down. Yeah, unfortunately, not everyone follows the rules for safety, whether it be companies or whether it be people. But I'm lucky in that I've been brought up in a work environment where people really do care about safety, because we all want to go home. We don't want to have to knock on someone's door and say, "Hey, Timmy's not coming home today because he fell into pit and died." Unfortunately, it does happen, but not in my time there. We haven't lost anyone, which is good. Anyway, I'm going to stop being morbid. Because, anyway, yeah, the point was that, yeah, while it is impressive, I also find it amusing. And I regularly go on YouTube to look up things exploding, because charge explosions are always impressive. And I love seeing colossal fuck ups. Yes. Although it's funny, so I've heard about this guy, but I've never met him. But apparently, years ago, um, the safety coordinator at the office I work in, um, was in a wheelchair. And the reason he was in a wheelchair was because he got run over by a train at work. And he decided, you know what, I got run over by a train, so how about I become a safety officer so that way other people don't get run over by trains? Which, yeah, interesting choice. The same with the high voltage guy. We also had a high voltage guy, apparently, who'd been electrocuted numerous times, and still decided, you know what, I'm going to work in high voltage, the place which has the most consequences for getting electrocuted. Is there a slight flange on this? I think there is. Begone flange. Good word, flange. Come on. Come on. Okay, there we go. Got it. Yeah, I mean, if it's something you want to do, then yeah, that's fine. I can't see anything wrong with it. Again, I still think the guy who worked in high voltage after being electrocuted like 3 times was just crazy. I see no sense in doing that. I would have been out of there ASAP. Okay. A1. Yeah. No, I understand that. My own father is an electrical engineer, so I can understand that. But yeah, I've heard far too many stories of just electrical things going absolutely haywire that I'm just like, nah. I'll stick to computers. Um, nice. But yeah, no, we've had more than a few things blow up at work. We've had a couple of MCCs explode. So those are motor controllers. That's why we put them in metal boxes so that when they explode, they don't actually damage anything or anyone. Okay. Let's just do some quick filing. Yeah, closest I've gotten to getting electrocuted is getting zapped by the TV. I was trying to find the ports on the side to plug in my Nintendo 64 and got zapped. But it's not a particularly strong zap, so it's not really too much of a problem. But yes, I've heard far too many concerning tales of people getting electrocuted that I'm like, no thanks. I choose life. I wish to retain all of the limbs attached to my body. Yeah, I know some people who've gotten minor shocks, and yeah, they've said it's pretty rough. But again, we usually have a lot of procedures to make sure that people don't get shocked at work, so that's good. Yeah, definitely a good choice. No fork in the PowerPoint. Okay, these should go together like so. Excellent. We now have the beginnings of a head. Oh, actually, I can literally just put these two together. Okay, just do the... Sweet. We now have... Why did these even move up and down? That's... Oh, did it allow me to raise the... Don't even know what the point of that is. It's weird. Okay. Where are we on the building? Good question. So, we have a head. There is our head. Actually, I'll put it side on, because it kind of just looks like a dome. But, yeah, that's our head. So we've gotten up to this step. So we'll now be moving on to the next section, which should be, hopefully, some body. Yes, it is. It is, as the text describes it, the bust. It's only taken us an hour and 6 minutes. And oh, you fool, why did you think this would be easy? So I need E and G. I'll take your word for it. We don't actually have acorns here. Oak trees are not native. So what do I need? I need E. So E's 3 and 5. Okay, number 3. Oh no, that's not good. Ugh. Okay, number 3. Number 5. Oh, clip that bit off as well. Ah, yeah. Now there's an interesting franchise of films, Ice Age, because the first two were genuinely good. Ah, water. Yeah, the first two were genuinely good films. Everything since then, yeah, a bit iffy. But it's interesting that they managed to kind of, because I don't think they weren't DreamWorks, were they? They were like just an independent. There was someone else. And it's rare that you get animated films that are successful and actually have a decent sized budget that are not produced by Disney or Pixar. Actually, fun animation fact. So, have you ever seen the film The Brave Little Toaster? It's an animated film. Not everyone's seen it, but it's relatively common. So, The Brave Little Toaster is directly responsible for us getting Toy Story. Because the rights to the film were originally picked up by Disney in the mid-80s. They picked up in about 1986. And some guys at Disney put together a pitch for no, I don't think I have watched the last Ice Age one. And I didn't know DreamWorks had shut down. I thought they were still going. But anyway, yeah, 1986, Disney pick up the rights to make a Brave Little Toaster film. Some guys at Disney come up with a pitch for it to be made using 3D animation. And they go into a meeting with the, at the time, head of Disney Animation, pitch the film. They made a 2-minute, they spent a year making like a 2-minute animated video using computer-generated animation. And the head of Disney Animation looks at him and he says, I got 2 questions. Using computers, will it make it any faster? And will it make it any cheaper? Well, actually, that wasn't exactly what he said. He basically said, how long will it take? He said, how long will it take? And how much will it cost? And they made the wrong decision here because they didn't give him the answer that he was looking for. Because what they said was, they said, well, it'll take exactly the same time as a regular animated movie, and it'll cost the same. And the head of animation looked at him and said, well, if it's going to cost the same and take the same amount of time, why are we even bothering? So, yeah, the pitch meeting didn't go well, and eventually Brave Little Toaster got made by a subsidiary Disney company, and the guys who'd pitched it left the company. And it's alluded that the reason they left the company was because it failed. But they went off and formed Pixar. And their first film as Pixar was, of course, Toy Story, which has a remarkably similar story to The Brave Little Toaster. So that's how we went from Brave Little Toaster to Toy Story, and then onwards to Pixar being Pixar. So in a way, is them failing that pitch meeting was probably actually the best thing they ever did. Yeah, and I mean, sometimes that's just the way it is. Because I remember, so the comics for Hellboy, one of the Hellboy anthologies, at the start of it has a foreword by the author, where he's talking about saying in the mid-90s he went to Disney Animation and was like, hey, I want to animate Hellboy. We can make it like that Warner Brothers Batman series that they're making. And Disney passed on it. And he was like, yeah, in hindsight, thanks Disney, best thing you ever did for me. I don't think I actually would have wanted it to be a Disney animated series. Which, I don't know. I like it when people come to terms with things like that in a way that kind of, I don't know, aligns with themselves that they want to be. Okay, how the hell does this go together? Okay, angle bit goes down. Ooh, okay, good that I don't forget that. I need number 4. Number 4, which is literally just a stick. Just a stick. Stick, stick, stick. Okay. Now how to figure out how the hell this goes together. This goes in here like that. Okay, very good. And then a stick. Yes and no. Disney is a weird company because of how big it is. Because there are times where they've been fantastic for creators, and there's times where they've been terrible for creators. The showrunner of Gravity Falls had a really interesting set of tweets that they put out where they were like, here is a whole bunch of stuff that the professionals and standards department of Disney like asked us to take out of the show. Now, like, the professionals and standards department, their whole job is making sure Disney doesn't get angry people knocking on their door being like, how dare you put this in television? And like, some of it was just the most utterly inane stuff. Like, oh yeah, you have these characters on the screen too often, too close to each other. People might think they're gay and complain to us. Please put them further apart so people don't think they're gay. And the showrunner basically had to be just like, no, like, they're just friends. I don't care. We're not moving them. But in other cases, Disney's been remarkably good with actually supporting their creators and making sure that their creative vision gets realized. How do I get this stick into this hole? God damn it. And I think it's like any business. You'll meet good people and you'll meet bad people whose objectives align with yours or don't. And sometimes that can be difficult because you want to achieve something and they want to achieve something else. Other times it's easy because everyone's got the right idea and you all kind of just work together to make it happen. And I think that's life. I think the hardest but also most rewarding part of life is finding the people who you vibe with and who will help you achieve the things you want to achieve. And sometimes it's just making do. Because, like, my current boss, I don't vibe with him as well as my previous boss, but we make do. We kind of realize that perhaps we don't communicate in the same way, so we make do. Okay. I have achieved stickening. We have stick in one half of the thing. Now, can we get stick in the other half of the thing? Okay, the E's go on the outside, that's fine. The answer is bastardo. Come on. Okay, no, the answer is I'm going to need to do some more scraping. Anything that's a tubular part. These things always need some filing. It's annoying as hell. Okay. Let's give it another try. There we go. Not pinching my fingers in it. Always do this to me. Have it. There we go. Correct. We have now achieved... Oop. We have achieved singularity. Now I can file down those nub marks. Possibly should have done that before, but oh well. They're together now, so that makes life a little bit easier. Plus, this is probably going to be largely interior detail. It's something I've been meaning to research. I don't know how, but model building is incredibly popular in Japan. I don't know how it really became a thing, because like model building kind of, it's very much in the West at least an English pastime. Like the British are fiends for model making, you know, Airfix and stuff, Revell. But somehow the Japanese developed a like for it as well, and this is why you get kits like this. So you get Gundam, which shows up in the mid-70s, and the Gundam plastic kits, which show up in the kind of the late 70s and start the Gunpla franchise. Then you get Zoids. And Zoids was Tomi Takara's response to Gunpla, basically. Now, Tomi Takara are interesting because they have had a long relationship with Hasbro. Tomi Takara are actually the ones who created Transformers, or rather the original toys that Hasbro then licensed to make Transformers. So in the 80s, they were looking for something to compete with Gunpla. Well, yeah, that's part of it. Because it definitely, like, again, like Gundam, the anime, the original anime, was definitely made to sell toys. It's part of the reason why the OG Gundam is red, white, and blue.
Where are the turtles? Where are they?
Welcome to the channel. I don't know how to pronounce that properly, so I'm just going with... Okay, there we go. There's that one. I need the little side wings, E15 and 16. That is G. That is not E. That is E. Where did I put the clippy things? Oh, good. Yeah. No, I have a fair few rules, mainly just because I was trying to cover all my bases. Which is funny, because most people don't actually read the rules I've found. But yes, today we are just building. We are building ourselves a Molga, which is from the franchise Zoids. It is a caterpillar. I'll show you a photo in just a sec. Yes. So what we're building is that one. It's a dual kit. It also builds the carrier version, but we're building this one at the moment because I wish to. So where are we up to? And we've got the head built. That's our head. 15. Okay. Oh yeah, I figured it wouldn't cover everything, but okay, 16. Where does 16? 16 goes on the other side. But yeah, no, I've learned from other people who do the streaming that yeah, having a decent set of rules is important. Because even if people don't read them, they can be very useful. Because if you, God forbid, have to ban someone, and we actually did ban someone earlier because they were a bot and they were trying to shill stuff on my channel, and shills get taken out and shot. Yeah, so if people do break the rules and you ban them and they contest the ban, you can just say, hey, you didn't follow the rules. So that's why we have them. Okay, that bit should be cleaned up now. Ah, okay, it's keyed in by the looks of it. There we go. Yeah, but to quote the infamous saying, common sense isn't always that common. And unfortunately, well, actually, this is one of the things I like about Twitch, right? It's the thing I like about Twitch. It's the thing I hate about Twitch, right? Twitch is great for people who perhaps don't have the best social skills. Particularly in VTubing, people talk about, like, well, no, if you spoke Welsh, that would be Welsh. Welsh is not English. Welsh is by definition not English, and any Welsh person would tell you that. Is it racist to hate other Balkan countries if you're Balkan? I'd say no, that's just being Balkan. But I think it depends on how far you go with it. And again, like with anything, there's loopholes, but also there is a human brain here. You know, if I'm banning someone, I'm making a judgment. So that's why I have rules. Rules keep me consistent. But point I was making, yeah, common sense, unfortunately, not that common. And thing I like about Twitch, because particularly VTubing, people always talk about parasociality, right? People say, oh, parasocial, people get too familiar. But I actually think in a lot of ways that's good, because obviously if people don't take it too far, you know, it's a useful thing, because sometimes socializing is hard. You know, you meet someone new and you're like, I don't know how to interact with this person. I don't know what they like. I don't know, you know, what they want to talk about. But you come on Twitch and you go, you know what? This guy's playing video games, so I'm pretty sure he likes video games, and I'm pretty sure he won't mind me talking about video games. You know, hey, this guy, Ando, he pretends to be an anime turtle on the internet, so he's probably fucking weird, so he's probably not going to mind if I come into his chat and I'm really fucking weird. Not that I think any of you guys here are weird at the moment, but... Yes, true. The one that I always got taught growing up was that the average IQ of a crowd is lower than any individual member of the crowd. So once you put people in groups, they get dumber, unfortunately. Okay, I think I can mount the head to this. Come on, go up. This shouldn't cause me too much of an issue for now. Oh, the fit is tight. The fit is tight. Yep, we're a group. Why do you think I'm progressively getting worse at building this thing? And yeah, I'll admit bots are annoying as hell. What do I need? Ah, I get it. Okay, so I need GE. Okay. Oh, yeah. No, bots are annoying. The worst thing about bots, though, like, it's not just they're trying to sell you something, it's an obvious scam, but it's because they post, like, a wall of text and they fill up chat. Like, we're having a nice conversation, right? Talking about whatever, and then all of a sudden you get this person coming in being like, hey, come please buy this Trojan or whatever, like, just here's million views, make successful Twitch channel, and it's like exactly what I just did then. It fills up the space and it ruins the conversation. And so we're all standing awkwardly around looking at this, like, robot that's just walked into the room and started yelling at us. Oh, fucking love this song. Alright. Give me 1 second. I'm turning this one up because it's a banger. Hang on. Mia, did I have an ad? Because I thought I am thankfully a Twitch affiliate now, which means in theory I do have ads, but I thought I had ads turned off. So, well, I'll look into that. Because I thought I had them off for the moment, because I do not have a schedule set up for them. I'm waiting, because I need some other things done before I can take advantage of other things. Oh, the bot, the Twitch bot? Yeah, okay, cool. Yep. No, good. I'm just checking in on things, because again, I do have the ability to run ads now, but I thought I had them turned off, so that's good. But yeah, I absolutely adore this song. Yep. Absolutely adore this song. Best song on the Cyberpunk soundtrack. And anyone saying, I want to stay at your home, are fools. Yes, I get it was in Edgerunners. I get that Edgerunners is a great anime, but this song is way better. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it'd be unique, but still feel like it'd get old. I don't know. There's only one bot I find amusing, really, and that's a Twitter bot, and it's called Waking News. I'll type it in chat. It's, hang on a sec. It's, what is it? I think that's how you spell it. It's a bot. It just takes BBC headlines from the BBC and types them in uwu speak. So it'll be things like, you know, avalanche in Afghanistan, you know, destroys village. It's incredibly morbid, but at the same time, I just find it hilarious. You know. Ugh. A flirt bot? Are you kidding me? Who'd even bother? Like, why would you, like, unless it was trying to catfish people into, like, flirting back and then being like, oh, message me or whatever. But yeah, why would you make like a bot that flirts? Okay, I need to put this weird bit. Where is it? It's in the G frame. G. G19. Aha. You're a weird sockety thing. Oh yeah, the other ones that are annoying as hell are the Reddit bots. What? This is the most bipolar bot I've ever heard of. It alternately goes from like chat's nice to fuck you. Flatters chat neg streamer. Although, to be fair, this is something I've been thinking of, so I now have redeems that I can do. Well, there's a couple of, well, actually, I'll circle back to this in a second. So what do Reddit bots do? There's a bunch of different ones on Reddit, and they annoy the hell out of me because a lot of them are things like spelling bots or whatever, which means if you spell something, they will show up and be like, beep boop, I'm the Reddit spelling bot. Did you mean this? And it's like, fuck off bot, we're in the middle of a conversation. No, I don't care. It's especially annoying when I didn't actually spell something wrong. I was entirely correct in what I was trying to spell. And the bot's like, beep boop, did you fuck up? And it's like, no, I did not. Go away. Yeah, that's basically what they are. The other thing they do is sometimes is they'll have ones that are like, if you use like irregardless, it shows up and it's like, irregardless isn't a word. Okay, so that's interesting. So wait, so it types out the coordinates, exact X and Y of their house, but is it like the bot owner's house, or is it the person reading it? But yeah, circling back to redeems and things, and oof, yeah, okay, that one's concerning. I'm curious how they even get the. I'm curious how they even get the coordinates. I mean, it's not impossible, but anyway. Yeah, circling back to redeems and stuff. So, because I'm now a Twitch affiliate, hurrah! I get. Yeah, so I get redeems now, which is fun and entertaining. And so I've been thinking about a couple of different things. Yeah, I'd be hella sus on a bot just posting numbers in my chat. But yeah, so a couple of people I know who stream have a redeem, which is like favorite person, best person in chat, like person of the stream. I want to try doing the opposite. I want to try doing like worst person of stream. Yeah, to be fair, most crazy stalkers don't even need a bot. Like, most crazy stalkers, if they want to find out where you are, they will just find out where you are, which is unfortunate. This is why we try and be as safe as we can online. That's why I pretend to be a turtle, so people don't know where I am, broadly speaking. Okay, we got the cables in. Huzzah, we now have more of a head. And it's only taken us an hour and a half. E9 and 10. Exactly. I'm in the Mariana Trench. All several hundred kilometers of it. They can come and swat me if they want to. I will say that is one of the good things about living in a country where, you know, the police probably aren't going to kick my door down. No guarantees, but they probably aren't. Like, 60% sure. Okay, this one was 9. Number 9. Oh, this is going to be a pain to clean off. Yes, the song we're listening to right now is by The Midnight. You should listen to them because they are based. They are incredibly based because they're like, hey, if you want to use our music on Twitch, go ahead. We allow anyone to use our music on Twitch rights free. And I'm like, that's an incredibly based position to take. I listened to music before, but I will continue listening to it afterwards because that is based and correct. I am in full support of everything you have said, for it is reasonable and correct. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm gonna expound. I'm gonna use my age and experience for a little bit here. So, why be a creepy stalker? Unfortunately, some people in their lives don't have, how do I put this? They don't get to have the same I don't know, social experiences that other people have. They unfortunately don't get to I don't know, they don't have that support network in their life, and unfortunately there are certain expectations in life from society, family, whatnot, that can sometimes put you in a position where you feel like you need to do something, but obviously not having a social circle to facilitate it, you basically have nothing better to do, and you're feeling pressured that you need to achieve something in life. And unfortunately, some people project that achievement onto other people. They feel like that having someone in their life constitutes an achievement, and that if they do things correctly, i.e. stalk someone, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but that's how I think it works. It's a lack of education in the social space, and a lack of confidence to live your best life. Oh yeah, crazy headlines, absolutely fantastic. Okay, story time. So, when I was at university, one of the things I had to do for my history degree was what's called a slice history. So a slice history is where you go back and like you look at a publication, like a newspaper or something, over time to see how things like stories and the way things are reported change over time. So I had to do a slice history, and we just had to do it using the university student newspaper. So I picked out a bunch of random editions from different years, went through them and was kind of just looking at different things. And like a lot of it was, you know, as much as things change, they stay the same, you know, issues around things like marijuana or like, you know, the cost of things at the student bookstore, whatever. The funniest thing I found was from the 1989 edition of the student magazine. Now, my university, it turns out, what I learned from this issue was that back in the day, they had a rule. So if you have a club at the university, you get money from the university to help you run the club. Now that's a good story. Having a drunk person win the race, but this is close. So, yeah, when you run a club at the university, if you have enough members, you get money in order to help you run events. But back in the day, there was another rule that said if you were a religious club, if you were affiliated with a church or something like that, you got extra money anyway. So, you know, if you were the Christian Gospel Society or whatever, or the Jehovah's Witness Club or whatever, you got extra money basically for free. And this upset some people. They didn't like it. And with good reason, because it wasn't a particularly fair rule. So what they did was they started a club called the Hellfire Club. They were allegedly Satanists. They weren't actually Satanists, but that was the point. Is they said, okay, we're the Hellfire Club, we're Satanists, we're affiliated with a church, the Church of Satan, give us our extra money. And the university kind of went, well, yeah, fuck it, I guess we have to comply, they're associated with the church. So they did it, and they were very clear about the fact that they were like, this is a joke, we are not actually Satanists, we're doing it to point out how stupid this rule is. But it caused the next year to basically be entirely like them getting into arguments in the newspaper with the other clubs, religious clubs, being like, how dare we have Satanists on campus? This is the worst thing. This is terrible. And the Hellfire Club basically spent the entire year being like, you idiots, we're not actually Satanists. We're just trying to point out how stupid this rule is. So they basically spent all of the extra money they got from the university holding parties. The club lasted for a year before the university got fed up with them and removed the rule. Having achieved their goal of getting rid of the rule that religious clubs got extra money, the Hellfire Club graciously disbanded after a single year, holding their final party, which they referred to as their Black Mass. And yeah, so yeah, that was the Hellfire Club. And yeah, they disbanded after a year. The twist to it, though, was that I read their last article in the school paper, which was from October 1989, I think. I need to check. But it was them talking about their last meeting and how they were like saying like, yep, our party was a great success. You know, we'd done everything we needed to achieve, so now we are officially disbanding the club. You know, thank you for all coming along and enjoying it with us. Hail Satan. And then it was the sign off by the club president, and a photo of the club president. And I was like, hang on a minute, I know that name, I know that face, but with less beard. Turns out the club president of the Hellfire Club was my high school chemistry teacher. I went to a Christian high school. So yeah, my high school Christian school Christmas English chemistry teacher, yeah, ran the Satanist club at university. Oh yeah, weed's an interesting one from history perspective. There is a place to the north of me that back in the 60s, it was never confirmed, but supposedly supposedly the national park, there was this myth that someone had planted weed there and it had gone wild and gone out and like just grown huge in the valleys. And so yeah, there was a group of people back in the day known as the Weed Raiders, who were people who would go out into the bush looking for the mythical giant weed plants. Where are we? E8 is around 6 and 14. Ah. I know what these are for. Whoop. Great, I managed to launch something onto the floor. There we go. Okay, let's get these filed down. Oh, I guarantee, look into it. Look into it. The Philippines definitely has some crazy history. The Philippines is a very interesting country with a lot of interesting stuff. Actually, question. How... I got a Filipino question, right? So, in the Philippines, how well known is the character of Pong Pagong? Because I learned of this turtle recently. This puppet called Pong Pagong, who is like a Filipino Sesame Street character. And he seems to be like the most obscure thing. I can only find like a couple of photos on the internet. I want to know more. Oh yeah, everywhere has a history. And it's weird. So like people find out stuff all the time because they recently found out that a guy in my town who had been like a massive like patron of the arts, like built buildings. There are buildings named after this dude. There was a wing of the local art gallery named after him because he donated all of his art when he died. Yeah, it turns out this guy was a Nazi. He'd fled Germany after World War II and changed his name. And it was recently outed. And all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, we got to take all these names off these buildings. Yeah, okay. That sounds reasonable. That seems kind of correct from what I've been hearing online. But yeah, the dude in question has been dead for like 30 years. And they only just found out he was a Nazi. But yeah, I recommend looking into your local history. You never know what you might find. Oof. Yeah, massive crocodiles are always interesting. I thankfully live too far south for crocodiles. You find them up north here. We have a myth that there's a panther that lives up on the mountain. They don't actually, well, I don't think there are. Panthers aren't native to Australia, but the myth is that during World War II, an American air squadron was based around here, and that they had a panther cub as their, like a pair of panther cubs as their mascots, and that when the war ended, they celebrated and released them, and they went up into the mountain, and now that there's like a small population of panthers living in the mountain. There isn't, but it's the myth, and people always, every so often, you get the panther is true. Not here, it isn't. Nah. All the panther photos here are bullshit. They're all dodgy as fuck. I'll accept panthers in other places, but here the problem with the panthers, right, is that we don't have, at least where I live, there's not large enough prey for them. Because we don't, like, we're too coastal for roos. We don't have kangaroos. There's nothing for them to eat. Alright, I need my orbs. Where did I put my orbs? That's a great name for a crocodile. Lolong. Alright. Got my orbs. No, we didn't. Yes, Australia, correct. Where is the hole in the orb? Yeah. Panthers are a decent size. They're a jaguar. So yeah, they're a decent size. How does orb? From Perth to Bendigo. Nah, I got my doubts. Because that's the other thing as well, is that there are way too many places in Australia where they're like, yeah, we've got panthers. And they all seem to have the same story. Okay, there we go. That is true. We do have the most camels. So many that we actually sell them back to the Middle East. Okay, there is my orb. Yeah, so that's the fun thing about crocodiles and any other reptile. So reptiles follow what's called indeterminate growth. It basically means that throughout their entire life, they just keep on growing. And they only, like, so long as they have enough food, they will just keep on growing. That's why you get those, like, snakes in Indonesia where people worship them as a god and feed them every day. And they wind up being, like, 20 meters long because of the fact that they just have enough food to do so. Where does this go? This goes in here. I can get it to fit. Does it go? It goes that way up. Okay. That's core. Yep, there we go. The orb is in place B. B3. What's a B? What does B frame look like? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, because I don't... Did they really get the 12-liter one, the 12-meter one? Because I don't know if that one was ever verified. I've seen the sculpture of the really big one that's like 8 meters or whatever up in Queensland, but how many parts have been finished? At this point, just the head, which is again far less than I was hoping for. Once again, my stomach was bigger than my eyes. B, that's what I need. Okay. B3. I mean, I don't doubt it could have gotten that big, because again, indeterminate growth. So long as it has enough food, it'll keep on growing. Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, like, let's face it. If there's a rumor of a 15-meter crocodile, are you really going to go and confirm it? Like, I'd be more than willing to be like, cool, you know what? Let's not find out. Yeah, but I mean, this is the other thing as well. It's like if you actually did have a 15-meter croc, you've got to ask the question, what's it eating? Like, what's its diet, and how steady is the supply? Because again, it's gonna need food. Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, also to be fair, it was the 90s. A lot of people went missing in the 90s. I think the dude who the crocodile hunter was based on went crazy in the 90s and got shot. Ooh, also a banger. Slaves for Fear. Love this song. Okay. Little wormy feet. Excellent. We have feats. Okay, how long have we been? We've been up for 2 hours, and we have achieved the grand total. Whoop. That was not supposed to start playing. We have achieved the grand total of a head and a half. Okay. I need 2 of these. H5 and H6. You know what? I think I've run out of steam. It's too hot. I've achieved very little. I think I'm going to call it there. So, thank you all for dropping by. I'm going to see if there's anyone worth raiding. Also, did my bitrate just fall off a cliff? I think it did. Um, um, um. Um. Yeah, we got to where we got to, but I'm looking at this next section and there's a lot of little bits and pieces that I need to put together that I don't want to do today because it is too hot. So, thanks everyone for dropping by. Yeah, fair. TTS is very expensive at the moment, mainly because I haven't bothered to fully set it up yet. So it will become cheaper in the future. But anyway, now that I can see what I'm doing, I'm gonna send you all over to Goonie. So have fun. I'm gonna start the raid up and go say hi to Goonie. I have suddenly gotten very sleepy. Thank you all for dropping by.